A 19th century prison turned luxury hotel? Yep. I was baffled, just like some of you might be, of how someone can transform such an undertaking while still preserving the deep history of this notorious Charles Street jail. I couldn't wait to experience when old meets new and to see if it's really worth all the hype. I mean, it's got to be something special considering that this hotel in 2023 was ranked 19th out of Condé Nast's best 50 hotels in the world, coming from their Reader's Choice. And shockingly, the main lobby even turns into a nightclub, attracting everybody from Boston that wants to check out one of the most unique hotels in the country. In desperate need to replace the Leverett Street Jail, the famous architect Gridley Bryant designed this Charles Street Jail, and construction started in 1848 and was completed in 1851, ready and open for business to greet their new guests. On the outside, at least, they did a pretty good job of keeping it looking really almost the same. And to give a comparison of what it looked like in yesteryear to now, you can see they tried their best to mix a luxury hotel but keep the deep roots of what the jail used to look like. In the front, you could still see where they left the doorframe intact where inmates would enter. And to most people, when you look at this concrete footing, it just looks like a nice slabbed concrete blocks. But in actuality, these are markers of where the original jail wall used to be. So with all that being said, I want you to sit back, get yourself comfortable, as Passport Plan checks out one of the most unique hotels. And of course, you go up this lovely escalator, and it'll take you up to the main lobby, or as I call it, the yard. And as you reach the top of the escalator, you'll notice that you are flanked by 3 levels of balconies. They're not your normal balcony. These are supposed to mimic the catwalk of the old jail. And even some of them actually being original, including the rooftop here with the original wood. We were greeted, we were checked in, and each guest was given a lovely, bubbly glass of champagne. And as we were going to our room, we just had to stop and just take a few seconds to enjoy some of this cool ambiance. And even outside in the courtyard, they had a curling area if you wanted to test your skills. So we arrived to our room, which was 808. It's a deluxe room with a king bed. My initial reaction to the room was like, well, it's just like any other Marriott-owned hotel room. But the more time I spent in the room, the more I realized that there's little things that make this room very unique that stands out, and it pays homage to its historical roots of the property. And also you had a cool collage of artwork and some photos, making sure that each guest knew that they were in Boston. From an old framed letter to some old antique keys that might have very well been in this jail at one point. And of course, you also have your little mini bar for an exuberant amount of money. From the antique-looking desk that was very minimalist and a basic chair where an officer would sit to do paperwork, it kind of let you feel like this might be an officer's quarters of where they would possibly sleep. And of course, you have an old iron-looking end table that looks like an old safe, but lo and behold, it actually holds a mini fridge and some snacks. And lastly, the bathroom. What could we find that could have any possible ties to a jail? And one of the cool things, just to put the icing on the cake, on the handle of the room, is this says the Liberty Hotel Boston Luxury Collection. But the cool part is that it says solitary with a cool little key, as if you're actually in a jail cell, and it has a traditional loop, which is pretty cool. And you can actually buy this, which is I think around like $30. So Nice little finishing touch on the room. Instead of the traditional do not disturb card that you hang on the doorknob, you just hang this outside the door and put solitary facing out, notifying the staff that you need some confinement alone and in peace. So as I got done touring my room, I went outside as I saw the sun was setting beautifully on the hotel. So just to rewind for a second, when I first checked in, I asked if I could speak to someone in PR or one of the managers in regards to getting a tour of this historic hotel. I told them that I was doing a review on my channel, and I was introduced to the director of operations. His name is Jonah, and he's been with the hotel for many years, he said. He was above accommodating and took us to many behind the scene areas that I never thought I would be able to see.
So the jail right here, this portion right here is right there. This is the yard. And it was built originally, if you can see, it used to go all the way out here. It was built almost like a cross. Right, so this was lower end, higher end, and then the two short parts right here. This was built in 1851, closed in 1990.
And Jonah pointed out in the brick where a window was cut out, and that was where the officers would watch the inmates that were either on suicide watch or were more dangerous than the others in the general population. And he also told us to make note that all the brick here is all original to the jail. So we were really all over the place, but Jonah ended up taking us up to the 5th floor, and while we were chatting on the catwalk, he said he loves being up here because he gets a great bird's eye view of things when events are going on. He added just about almost every day there's something going on. On Mondays, you have an art gallery that takes place. On Tuesdays, you have a blues band. On Wednesday, you have a jazz band. And on Thursday, he was excited to share that they have an event called FLT, which stands for Fashionably Late Thursday, which is a fashion show that takes place. And of course, on the weekends, you have a DJ that kicks off around 9:30, and I cannot wait to check that out. He also went on to add that the 4th and 5th floors are predominantly used for banquets, such as either weddings or special events. But if you wanted to have a drink and watch the scenery and people watch, this is the place to be. And I apologize about the lighting here because there was this blue light that was shining down into the main lobby, so I'm trying to get the best angle I can. So when Jonah was showing me up here, he also gave me a cool little fun fact that when they were fixing the roof before the hotel opened, they discovered about 3 feet of pigeon poop. And it cost about $350,000 to remove it all, which is ironically just about the same amount of money to build the jail back in 1851. And then Jonah, we went back on the 4th floor, which he explained was just predominantly used again for banquet space, special events, that nature. But what was really cool was in some of these rooms, the view of the city was spectacular. We made our way back down to the first catwalk, and this is what he had to say about all the events that happen here.
Oh.
We have a DJ here, trapeze artist from the ceiling,
Wow.
a DJ in the lobby, a DJ in the 4th floor that I showed you.
Wow.
Activities everywhere, and there's about 12 to 1,400 people in it.
Wow.
It is the biggest party of the year. And Halloween is about 900 people. It is my favorite party of the year because everybody gets dressed up, everybody has fun, and we have a big Halloween party every year.
And do you have to make reservations for that, like well in advance?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that I would like to do.
Yeah,
That would be.
It's very, very popular. Both are very popular. We've been doing it for almost 17 years now.
Wow. There are 4 different bar locations here on site. There's 2 restaurants offering a wide variety of whatever your palate thrives for that day. Our first stop was a bar called The Alibi, which is a unique name because every prisoner is innocent, right? Inside you had a few celebrity pictures that were blown up explaining what their alibi actually was, which I thought was pretty cool. The first one here, which I thought was pretty funny, Macaulay Culkin, and his alibi is that he was left alone. And a few little fun facts that Jonah enlightened us on was that the floor here is the only part of the hotel that's original from the jail. And where the actual alibi bar is right now was the drunk tank for intoxicated Bostonians that were picked up for acting up in public. The ambiance here was absolutely awesome. The bars on the windows were all original, as well as the jail doors that are depicted right here going into the bar itself. So the next restaurant we visited, which is also on the first floor, is called Scampo, which its menu is crafted by Boston's own Lydia Shire. Lydia is known as one of Boston's best chefs, and if there was a Michelin star available in Boston, I was told she deserves it. And yeah, she's a pretty big deal around Boston and the New England area, and I just wish she was there tonight to talk to her. And this is just another example of how well I was treated here. I was always greeted with a smile and a handshake of everyone who I was introduced to, and I was told not to hesitate if I ever needed anything. And as we left the restaurant to head upstairs to the Clink, which is the last restaurant, Jonah says something to me that really resonated. When you have a job that you really enjoy, guests can really see that.
I mean, I left for 10 years here. Every day when I come to work, I still in awe every time I look up when I walk in the door because it never gets old. You can't build this right? These are the original tours from the original jail. And again, to keep a little bit of history as well, we don't have any original cells here, but to keep some of the integrity and the history of it, creative way, what we did is the stone on the ground, you can see these were what the walls would have been.
Wow.
So this would have been a cell, this would have been a cell. Door, another cell. Catwalk going around this way, and then it would have been on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
As well.
So after we visited the Clink restaurant, we had this rare opportunity that Jonah said we can get a real quick tour of their premier suite called the Ebersol, which is their biggest on the property. And you must ask, how much will this cost you per night? Just around $2,000 depending on the day. So you're gonna have to dive into your pockets. And just to give you a quick history, there was a boy named Teddy Ebersol that died tragically in a 2004 plane crash, and he was only 14 years old. And Teddy was an avid Red Sox fan, and the tragic plane crash took place exactly 1 month after he watched his beloved Red Sox break the 86-year-old curse and winning their first World Series championship in almost 100 years. So the Liberty Hotel knew it would be fitting to name this presidential suite after one of Boston's die-hard fans that tragically couldn't be here to see Boston win more championships in the future. And that's why you will see the 1,600-foot residence decked out in Boston Red Sox memorabilia, signed by some of the most storied Boston athletes and Hall of Famers. And you're not digging deep into your pockets just because you're staying in a suite. It's also because of this view right here. It is the very best view that the Liberty Hotel has to offer, and I think it's one of the best views I have ever seen in Boston itself. And you have an incredible view of the Charles River here, and with the hotel being situated in Beacon Hill, you get a great view of one of the most expensive neighborhoods in all of Boston. So, as I walked back inside, I continued the tour of this suite, and I went into this little foyer area and then also into the bathroom. The bathroom was spectacular, everything was clean, marble, it was really beautiful. And then of course, now as we make our way into the master bedroom, you have these incredible panoramic views of the city. So although I was not told by Jonah, but he did say some of the celebrities that have stayed here were mind-blowing. So sadly, it was the end of our tour. Jonah, to our surprise, said that one of the suites was available and asked if I wanted it. And of course, my typical response was, "Does a bear like honey?" And wow, I cannot wait to show you what this suite is like. So we packed up our belongings and we were headed to room 1401. We open up, boom. This is unbelievable. You're in a living room area, and this is just part one of the many rooms in here. But what is spectacular is this view of Boston. So I didn't even realize this, but when you walk around, I just thought that this was maybe just a little cubby, but nope. You have a second bathroom besides the master one. And as you make your way from the living room, you're immediately going into the master bedroom. And again, same thing as our basic room of the decorations, but this is just incredible. And just like the suite that we saw, the master bathroom, you have a beautiful stand-up shower, of course, bathtub. So I want to give a big shout out and a thank you to Jonah. He has been so hospitable and warm and welcoming. He is the true definition of what a director of operations should be. He has been professional. He has given us many stories that I will always remember. And this is something that is just spectacular. So Jonah, thank you very much. And this is such a great experience, and I cannot wait to show this on my YouTube channel to let everyone know in the country and the world that when they go to Boston, to make sure they check out the Liberty Hotel, because not only does it show luxury and showcase what Boston's all about, but it gives a big history of what the jail used to be like 150 years ago, with a mix of modern, but also showing what inmates had to go through with little bits and pieces of our history. We decided to check out the Clink restaurant, and I will be brutally honest, and I don't know if it was just an off night or maybe just not enough seasoning, but the food was just mediocre. And I could tell you what was not mediocre, and that was the service. Every employee made sure that your glass was taken care of and that it was full. The menu did have a lot of tasty options, but I think next time when I come, I'm going to check out Scampo and hopefully meet Lydia. A gorgeous Prosecco and a very tasty espresso martini was enjoyed as we waited for our food. Now, excuse me because I can't remember it, but the bread was almost like a crouton, and the dipping sauce was like this creamy substance, and it was amazing. And they gave it to us on the house. We ordered some salmon with a side of asparagus and beets, and I got the fresh cod. So after our food was digested, we ended up just hanging out, people watching on the catwalk. And before you know it, the lobby turned into a nightclub, and we were just doing some people watching before we went down and took part of the festivities. And by morning, we were refreshed, enjoyed our last minute views as we were getting ready to check out and head home to New York. So as we packed our bags and head to the lobby to hang out, get some food, I totally forgot that Jonah mentioned here as we were down below that this is actually authentic and real, this catwalk here, and also the bars here. This jail has housed some very notable figures, such as Boston mobster Whitey Bulger, Malcolm X, and even World War II German POWs from a submarine. So just sit back and think for a second. Imagine if these walls could talk. These original bricks from back from 1850, what they have seen, what they have heard. So in closing, unfortunately, all fun things have to come to an end at some point, and I just wanted to reiterate of how this hotel defines what luxury is, but yet still preserving its history to the best of their ability. When Babe Ruth toured this jail, he even said it seems like more like a hotel. And I really think he was onto something, because 80 years later, it turned into this amazing landmark in Boston. And again, I want to thank Jonah, the Director of Operations, for going above and beyond, showcasing why this hotel stands out more than any other in Boston. To say that staying here a night or two is worth it is a complete understatement. Sometimes videos and pictures just don't do justice when you visit places like this, and I hope this will entice my viewers to visit a piece of Boston's history that's preserved today. This is Passport Planet, and I hope everyone enjoyed this video, and please subscribe for my next adventures.